Hey girls, Maria Menounos here, author of the Every Girl's Guide to Life. Want to know my best tips and secrets for organization, travel, weight loss, beauty, fashion, and everything else in between? Go to bing.com/Maria and pick up my new book, The Every Girl's Guide to Life.
You're listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network, now the largest new media platform on the web, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment.
Very good, Keith Johnson.
From the AFTERBUZZ Studios in Los Angeles, California, and streaming live on Ustream, this is AFTERBUZZ TV for The Killing. Tonight's host is Paul Ashton. Joining Paul will be AFTERBUZZ co-hosts Katie Page and Catherine Tulick. We'll break down tonight's episode and get you all the latest The Killing news and gossip. If you'd like to buzz in on tonight's show, you can buzz us at 424-256-1729. That's 424-256-1729. And now, picking up where the show leaves off and the buzz continues, Paul Ashton.
Thank you very much, Rich. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to AFTERBUZZ TV for The Killing, Season 1, the finale, Episode 13, titled Orpheus Descending. Finishing the Killing season as it began on AFTERBUZZ TV, flying solo. No Katie, no Catherine. Everyone's elsewhere tonight. It's just me, and I'm just going to give us a quick wrap-up to do justice, hopefully, to this wonderful series that I was hoping would provide us with some closure tonight, but in the end has left just as many questions as it answered tonight in what was just a scintillating final episode of Season 1. It began where it left off. I'm going to sort of just point out a couple of highlights for me tonight, highlights of the episode, and the first one was the opening scene that picked up right from where the last episode left off. You may recall, with Sarah Linden in Darren Richmond's house in the office, seeing these emails come through under the codename Orpheus that seemed to link him to the call girl. Call girls that he'd been taking to the casino, one of whom was Rosie, and we see Linden just there lit by the computer, and Darren Richmond just purely in silhouette, and we really do see his dark side, and they really did paint him quite monstrously there. We hear about the story of Orpheus from Richmond. He tells Sarah this story of Orpheus and how Orpheus in the myth, the Greek or Roman myth, went down into the underworld to save his wife and bring her back up. And they give him his wife on the one condition that he doesn't turn around and look back at her as they leave the underworld, which of course he does, and he loses her forever. And it's no accident that Darren Richmond identifies with this. And the only question is, did he reach back for his wife one too many times with Rosie? And we see later in the episode that he has a string of these brunette women that he's had affairs with that are built in the model of his deceased spouse. And Rosie certainly fit the bill there. This is just a stunning scene, extremely tense. You really didn't know if Sarah was in danger. She slipped past him, and the episode really got going, and it's as if we know Richmond knows that they're onto him, and so the focus for Linden and Holder becomes trying to map out his progress that night and work out exactly what happened and finding the evidence to close this case out and charge Darren Richmond with Rosie's murder. They follow a bunch of clues that they take from the car and its gas levels, and it leads them through gas stations, and they eventually follow the clues that lead them back to the woods where it all started. You may recall that the pilot episode with Sarah running through the woods, and our flashes of Rosie being chased through the woods, and it was just wonderful the way that the season bookended itself like that, and the real core section of tonight's episode was Sarah back in the woods searching for clues once again, coming at the site of the murder just from another direction. And this was one of my favourite moments or sequences of tonight, was just watching Mireille Enos's extraordinary performance and the intensity that she brings to Sarah as she's standing just in the middle of the field with such intensity, nothing moving but her eyes. There's almost an animal-like quality that comes to her as she's trying to work out where Rosie might have gone, what factors have driven her this way or that, and they go deeper into the woods and they find her shoe and they realise they're 100% on the trail. And there was this sort of striking moment where she was overcome with emotion, which is a surprising thing for Sarah's character. And she says to Holder, she'd just gone west of the road rather than east, or east of the road rather than west, I'm not sure which one, she'd still be alive. And we realise how close she went to potentially surviving her attacker. So it was a wonderful sequence. Of course, the mayor then releases the details of Richmond's other women and all these replicas of his wives that I recently mentioned, and I did love the actress who played a former campaign manager that he had an affair with. We'll come to that a little bit later. My third favorite highlight, my third highlight of the episode tonight, I think, was the second confrontation between Sarah and Richmond. After she's been all riled up in the woods like that, she sort of is so impassioned that she storms into Richmond's office, and they have this absolute they really go at each other, have a wonderful argument. The camera gets really riding close on them, and it's very intense, and you sort of see their height difference, and they really both just let loose in a way we've rarely seen them do so. And this was a scintillating scene. And of course, we then see Gwen is overhearing it. And this leads to a very important chat between Sarah and Gwen. And Gwen lets us know that Darren's alibi that she sort of helped present to the cops at the very beginning about where he'd been on that Friday night was in fact a lie, and that he had disappeared and come back completely wet, which seems pretty damning evidence. So really all they're waiting for at that point is a photo from some toll booths from the freeway where they're pretty sure that Darren Richmond drove through with the car with Rosie's body in it. While this is all going on, of course, where as the Richmond and Lyndon Holder move inexorably closer together, those two sort of plot lines reach they're coming together and climax at the end of the episode. Stan and Mitch are battling through. Stan has been bailed out by Terry, and rather than going upstairs and seeing Mitch, they maintain their standoff, and he goes and sleeps in the cemetery. And the fourth highlight for me of this episode was really just watching Mitch's detachment and realization about where she was at and what she needed to do. And her watching her sons play with their kite at a distance, her finding her old scrapbook in Rosie's room, and her father, who just had this one, this is the first time we've met him, but an important moment, and she's looking through her old scrapbook that Rosie had taken from Mitch's old house, and it had all of her plans and goals as a young girl or young woman, and all the countries that she wanted to visit, France, England, and nothing was filled in because she'd never been. And there was a wonderful moment where Mitch's father said, "You and Rosie were so similar," and this is one of my favorite quotes of the episode, because you really did see, all we know is that Rosie had been basically being a high-class call girl of sorts and saving a lot of money. One can't help but think with that line that perhaps the writers are trying to tell us that she was trying to have dreams of her own, goals of her own, break out of their lower class, lower middle class, socioeconomic rut and really make a life for herself. Perhaps. I don't know. But that's what it seemed to suggest to me. And it was really touching. And she then feels, though, that she can't be of use anymore to the boys. And Stan comes home after a little bit of a spell sleeping in his car in the cemetery, which was rather morbid, but also pretty moving. I expect the cemetery where Rosie's buried. He also goes and visits Bennett Ahmed. And he comes back and she decides to leave, and he doesn't really put much up of a fight. And he also doesn't tell her about the second house, which surprised me because it seemed to me that this was just that second house provides the new beginning that they're looking for. Mitch says, everything in this house reminds me of sad things, basically, to paraphrase. And I thought this was the perfect moment for Stan to say, well, it's okay, I've got this house, we can start again. But he doesn't. And she leaves, and the way that she leaves reminded me a little bit of the way that Rachel Weisz's character does in The Lovely Bones, for those of you who have seen that, where she goes away, but then she comes back after some time and some healing, and certainly the way that it looks like this same case is going to take us into Season 2, spoiler alert, into Season 2, I expect that she will come back, and hopefully then, or perhaps then, that second house may provide a new beginning for the family. My fifth highlight of the episode was the brief meeting between Stan and Ahmed's pregnant wife in the hospital, both neither realizing who the other was. That Stan was the man responsible. She didn't realize Stan was the man responsible for putting her husband there and on death's door, and he didn't realize that she was the wife of the man he'd beaten up and who he could potentially make a widow out of. But it was just one of those amazing moments where these two people offer each other, he reassures her about the pregnancy, and he says he still has 3 children, and it was sort of just, it's just one of those moments where you just see the consequences of everyone's actions as raw as they are, and that's all there is to it. It was kind of a nice touch, I thought. Finally, the episode starts to come to its climax as Holder provides a photo of Darren Richmond coming through the toll booth at 3 a.m. on the freeway, and that sort of closes out the evidence that the team needs. And as Richmond is at a rally, really bathing in the oncoming glory because he's so far ahead in the polls and seems to have buried Mayor Adams with the fact that the waterfront development is not going to go further anymore, which was the crux of Mayor Adams' platform for re-election. They come through and they arrest him, and he says, "You've made a big mistake," as they put him into the cop car. And we think we've got our man. Looks like it's all over, but then there's a final twist, it seems, because firstly Sarah's on the plane finally with Jack to head off and try and recuperate her engagement. And when she gets the call saying that all of the cameras on those toll booths had not been working for many months, and so realizes that the photo must have been doctored. At the same time, we see Balco, who we've had an earlier shot of cleaning the chamber of his pistol, walk out of the crowd, pull out a gun, and point it at Richmond from point-blank range. That, in fact, there is the final shot of the episode just before we see Stephen Holder get in a car we don't know who with and say that the doctored photo worked perfectly and that he's going to burn. And so, yeah, we end with that final shot on Balco's gun. Very similar final kind of moment to the last season of Breaking Bad, for those of you who watched that, and it really was quite gripping. But interestingly enough, we didn't hear a shot fired. And so it all comes together with an amazing amount of intensity, and yet we were left hanging. And I just didn't know what to think, quite frankly. Is Richmond going to die? Is Balco going to knock him off, and hence, well, there's some vigilante justice to it, but he certainly doesn't get... we can't perhaps prove anything one way or another. Why has Stephen doctored the photo? Is it just to get rid of this case because he's so convinced it's Richmond, or is there something else going on? Why didn't we see who he was with in the car? And if Richmond is in fact innocent, where are we going to go for more suspects? There's the show has been picked up for season 2. We know that this week, and I can't help but think that there must be some other area of investigation that they're going to have to pull out for us to maintain this. It seemed like Richmond was absolutely the guy, but this twist makes us feel like there must be something else to come. And I'll tell you, I'll be back here watching. I hope they don't keep us waiting too long. Certainly not as long as we've been waiting for this fourth season of Breaking Bad, rather. What an amazing season it was. I've talked to you intermittently every 2 or 3 episodes, but the theme has been the same. This is a series just superbly crafted and with extraordinary storytelling and extraordinary performances, and every episode directed with such finesse, so much conscious. The shots have all been so beautifully constructed, and the tone so specific. And every person that we've met has a secret, has a problem, has an addiction, has something that they're only just holding off by the edges. This one crime, this one incident pulls away the layers of their lives and reveals their difficulties and challenges, and puts the fire under all of them, and so in so doing reveals their humanity, and it so becomes really, to me, a show about the anti-hero. And the last, and certainly by the end of it, the last person who we thought maybe could be just a classic hero, Darren Richmond, we find to be just the opposite, whether or not he is in fact guilty. So for those of you who've listened to our broadcasts of The Killing for AFTERBUZZ TV, thank you so much for being with us. I hope you got to see us at the MTV Movie Award gifting suites a couple of weeks ago. That was tremendous fun. And of course, the episodes between then and now, a particular highlight. But I'm sure two episodes ago, where we basically just had Holden and Stephen Lyndon, excuse me, just really having a two-hander episode, and it was really acting 101. Just a remarkable episode where we just got to really know those two characters, and those two actors got to show just how good they are. So look, guys, it's AFTERBUZZ TV. You know where we are. Don't forget to go out and grab Maureen Muñoz's book, Every Girl is a Guide to Life. It's still in bookstores. It's still in the top 10, I think, which is remarkable. The New York Times bestsellers list. I will be back for Breaking Bad. July 17 opens, and I just cannot wait to start seeing some commercials tonight. I'm pretty sure you're celebrating as much as I am. If you haven't seen it, go and watch all 3 seasons in time for the 17th of July. Thanks, Jesse. Thanks, Phil. Thanks all for loving The Killing. I'm Paul Ashton, and I will talk to you again soon.
From producers Kevin Undergaro and Phil Svitek, engineer DJ Jesse Janity, and the entire AFTERBUZZ TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AFTERBUZZ TV network. If you have questions or comments, be sure to buzz us at info@AfterBuzzTV.com. And you can find us on Facebook or follow us on Twitter by searching for AFTERBUZZ TV.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AFTERBUZZ TV or its owners or principals.